taking so much time.
So parenting is probably the most important jobs one can hold. And unfortunately, there is no guide or instruction manual how to do parenting. We end up being parents. We are never told how to do parenting, or we are never trained. It is a job we just take it by ourselves, and we start learning once we become parents. Perhaps every child, every family, every culture is unique in itself. So the parenting needs of every child are definitely unique. Of course, the principles of parenting are common, but how do we do parenting on an individual basis is very, very unique, particular to that family, community, and the culture. So to begin with, let me give an example of a famous basketball player. His name is Michael Jordan. He was from America. So he was very, very famous and a star basketball player. He had almost broken all the records in scoring the goals. And in one of the important matches, it was like a final match, and the scores of the two teams were leveled. They were equal scores. And there was an opportunity to score a goal by throwing the ball into the basket. And if this Michael Jordan would have scored that goal, he would have got a record of highest scorer, and also his team would have won. But when the very moment of throwing the ball into the basket came, what Michael Jordan did, he passed the ball to his teammate. He didn't score goal by himself. What he did, he passed the ball to his teammate, and his teammate scored the goal, and of course their team won. So after the game was over, the reporters, TV reporters came to meet Michael Jordan, and they asked him a question. Hey, Michael, you are having a great opportunity to become the top scorer, and you could have done it. Your team would have also win the match by just you scoring the goal. But why did you choose to pass on the ball to your teammate? So Michael said, many times the team goals are more important than individual goals. Many times we have to sacrifice the individual priorities over the team priorities. So that shows his team spirit. And how does this team spirit, the high values, were imbibed in Michael Jordan because of his parenting? So it is said that when Michael was young boy, around age of 8 years, his father gave him a handkerchief. It was a dirty handkerchief. He gave his father gave to him, and his father asked him, can you sell this handkerchief for $1? So Michael cleaned that handkerchief, nicely washed it, and gave that handkerchief. He went to the marketplace and he sold the handkerchief for $2. He came back. His father was very, very happy. So then again, his father gave him another handkerchief and he asked him, now can you please sell this for $10? So Michael again went, he did some drawings on this nice paintings. He first washed it, cleaned it, and after the painting and drawings, he sold it for $12 into the marketplace. So father was pleased again. So now third time, his father gave him again the same, another dirty handkerchief, and he gave him a target of selling the handkerchief for $100. Any guess how he would have sold it at $100? Suppose you are in that situation, how would you do that? You want to sell a handkerchief for $100. Any tricks? Any guess? What we can do? How do we achieve that? Okay, so let me tell. So what this Michael did, he went to the city and he made a famous actress. She was followed by the fans. So he took her signature on the handkerchief. And when he came back, he went to the market and he announced to the public, I have a handkerchief signed by so and so actress. She's very, very famous. And there was a big follower and a fan club for that actress. So one of the person, he bought the handkerchief for $120. So his father was very, very happy with his determination, with his intellectual ability to sell the handkerchief. So now can you please tell me What differently every time Michael did to increase the selling price of the handkerchief? What was he doing differently? How could he achieve what his father was saying? Anyone, please feel free to interact. It's not like, very formal session. We want to make it interactive. Whatever comes in your mind, share, and please stop me for any questions as well. Is question clear to you? Is story clear to you? This is a real life story.
हरे कृष्णा प्रभु जी।
Yes, yes, माता जी।
हाँ, उनके फादर ने मतलब उनको प्रेरणा दिया, उनको चालना दिया, उनका थोड़ा मतलब सोचने को उनको मजबूर किया उनके फादर ने।
Correct, correct. Very nice. So his father motivated him to think, to work, to think out of box. So he encouraged him. Anything else? So the most important thing, that Michael was adding value to that handkerchief every time. Because of that value addition, the price of the handkerchief was increased, right? जैसे कोई चीज है, रॉ मटेरियल है, हम उसके ऊपर कुछ प्रोसेसिंग कर लेते हैं तो उसकी वैल्यू बढ़ जाती है, उसकी कीमत बढ़ जाती है। जैसे एक सिंपल लकड़ी है, उसको लकड़ी की कीमत कितनी होगी, बट अगर हम उसके ऊपर सनमाइका लगाएंगे, थोड़ा पॉलिश करेंगे तो उसकी कीमत बढ़ जाएगी। या फिर वही कोई कांच है, कांच को हम पॉलिश करेंगे, थोड़ा ऊपर से कुछ फिल्मिंग करेंगे तो उसकी कीमत बढ़ जाती है। उसी तरह से जब हम अच्छी तरह से पेरेंटिंग करते हैं, हम अपने बच्चों को अच्छे संस्कार देते हैं, वैल्यूज देते हैं, उन्हें अच्छा एजुकेशन देते हैं, तो उनका भी जो है उनका विकास होता है और उनके भी जीवन की जो गुणवत्ता है उसमें वृद्धि हो जाती है। सो इट एड्स वैल्यू टू देयर लाइफ आल्सो। सो इट इंक्रीजेस देयर culture, their principles, they become strong, their roots become strong, and so that helps to make the leaders in the society. So let us define what is parenting. So parenting is the process of promoting and supporting the physical, emotional, social, and intellectual development of a child. Four things are important: physical, emotional, social, and intellectual development of a child from infancy to adulthood. So parenting refers to the intricacies of raising a child. So in simple language, this is the definition of parenting. तो हमें क्या क्या देखना है, बच्चों को जो फिजिकल नीड्स है, इमोशनल नीड्स होते हैं, सोशल नीड्स होते हैं, और उनकी जो इंटेलेक्चुअल डेवलपमेंट है उसे कैसी चालना मिलनी चाहिए, इसके ऊपर हमें एफर्ट्स लेने होते हैं पेरेंटिंग में। तो इसके हर एक अंग के ऊपर हम आगे जाके चर्चा करते हैं। तो सबसे पहले हमें यह समझना है कि ये पेरेंटिंग है, ये कोई साधारण जवाबदारी नहीं है। इट्स अ वेरी वेरी सीरियस रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी ऑफ बीइंग पेरेंट्स। There is a famous saying, for the hand that rocks the cradle, it is that hand which rules the world. I will repeat, for the hand that rocks the cradle is the hand that rules the world. Let me give you an example to demonstrate this particular proverb. You must have heard the name of शिवाजी महाराज। शिवाजी महाराज का हमने नाम सुना होगा, महाराष्ट्र में जो प्रसिद्ध राजा थे, और उनकी माता का नाम क्या था? जीजाबाई। तो जीजाबाई जब जीजाबाई के गर्भ में शिवाजी महाराज थे बच्चे के रूप में, तो उस समय उनकी बड़ी इच्छा थी कि, क्योंकि उस समय महाराष्ट्र में मुगलों का राज था, तो उन्हें एक ऐसी इच्छा थी कि ऐसा कोई योद्धा शूरवीर पैदा हो जो इस महाराज को स्वराज दे, मुगलों के राज्य से उनको मुक्त करे, महाराष्ट्र राज्य। सो ऐसी उनकी इच्छा होने के कारण जैसे ही उन्हें पुत्र की प्राप्ति हुई तो उन्होंने अच्छी तरह से उसके ट्रेनिंग एंड एजुकेशन के ऊपर एफर्ट्स लिए। एंड व्हाट हैपेंड, बिकॉज ऑफ द ट्रेनिंग एंड एजुकेशन ऑफ जीजाबाई एंड ऑल दोज पीपल हु सपोर्टेड शिवाजी महाराज and encourage him, gave them proper nourishment and protection and care, Shivaji Maharaj became a great warrior, and he eventually fought against the mighty empire of Mughals, and he freed the land of Maharashtra from the alien rule of Mughals. So we can see what a great responsibility Jijabai had. She not only raised a child, but she raised a nation as a whole, right? So Shivaji Maharaj is also famous for one of the important qualities. He is famous for his character. He was definitely was a courageous person. He was very brave, and he was very expert in military planning, in fighting the wars. But apart from that, Shivaji Maharaj was famous for his character. He would never allow killing unnecessarily women or children, those who are helpless. He would not allow his soldiers to cut the trees. So how could Shivaji Maharaj develop such high-class values? Because of his mother. It is said that Jijabai, in the childhood of Shivaji Maharaj, she would often tell him the stories of Ramayana and Mahabharata. And our scriptures like Ramayana and Mahabharata are such filled with so many stories, the principles and values. We can learn so much from them. That's why it is said that our Indian culture is a very great culture. The ISKCON founder, Srila Prabhupada, Desi Bhakti Vedanta Swami Prabhupada, once he went to United Kingdom, England, and reporter asked him a question that we already ruled your country and we have taken as much as we can. We have taken your money, we have taken wealth, we have taken businesses, we have conquered the countries. So what you have come here to give us? So Srila Prabhupada replied, I have come here to give you one important wealth which you forgot to take with you. And what is that wealth? The wealth India is having of Vedic wisdom. We are having tremendous wealth of Vedas. So Prabhupada replied that you forgot to take our real wealth, the wealth of the Vedas. So ये जो रामायण महाभारत ऐसे जो स्क्रिप्चर से शास्त्र है उससे हमें अनेक प्रिंसिपल्स मिलते हैं जीवन जीने के, कैसे हम अच्छी तरह से जीवन को व्यतीत कर सकते हैं. So it is our responsibility to give the right examples to our children, to give them the right scriptures. So that's why we can see in our Bhakti Vedanta Vidyashram, we train the children based on the principles of Mahabharata, Ramayana, Bhagavad Gita. So that definitely helps for building the character. And that is the example which I wanted to mention about Shivaji Maharaj. Any questions till now? Is it like going very fast? Is it making sense to all of you?
Yes, Prabhuji, it's very nice session. Please carry on.
Thank you. And please stop me. अगर आपको कुछ भी प्रश्न है बीच में तो मुझे please आप पूछ सकते हो. Raise your hand or you can ask. Okay. So there is once American president Herbert Hoover said, if we could have one generation of a properly born, trained, educated and healthy children, 1,000 problems of government would vanish. So what that means is, if we can assure ourselves of children who are having healthier minds, vigorous bodies and great character, then our future of our nations will be in the hands of those children, and then that will shape the greater future for the nations. So that in summary, the future of the nations lies in the hands of the children, and the future of the children lies in the hands of parents. So that is how the parenting is such a responsible task. Let me go ahead. Sorry, 1 second, the slides are not going forward. Yeah. So the next important point we want to discuss is about parenting as an art. What is an artist doing? If you see in this picture, there is a person who is trying to make a sculpture. He is an artist. And so how does an artist make such beautiful paintings or the sculpture? Is their dedication, their focus. There are some picture in their mind, they have some expressions and there are some feelings. They try to portray it on a canvas or through a piece of paper or through a molding. So similarly, mothers and father, they have the responsibility to fashion the morals of the children. Their task is like a painter or a sculpture. So they can paint the colors of righteousness. They can write the literatures of godliness into the hearts of their children. And they can eloquently speak about the mercy and love of God. So in order to perform any art, we need a meditation and absorption. So similarly, parenting is also about focus. We need to plan for it. We need to be serious about it. And there is need a lot of absorption also. It's not like a part-time task. Parenting is a full-time responsibility. It needs a great amount of contemplation, aspiration, and preparation. And at the same time, most important, parenting is about patience. It's not like 1 hour job, 1 year job. Like when we go to college or a university, we just we study for 3 years or 4 years and then we get a degree and that's it, done. But parenting is a lifelong journey. It starts with the birth of the child, in fact, much before birth of the child, and then it goes on. So we have to understand that it's a journey, not just a small time event. So there is a small story which is mentioned in our scriptures about a sparrow. There was a forest. In that forest, there was a sparrow. He was eating a fruit. And what happened? One time, the seed of the fruit fell on the ground. And, because it is a forest land, there are the rains. So out of that seed came a small sapling. And it had some tender leaves. And later what happened? Few goats came there. And they saw this sapling. So they wanted to eat the leaves of this sapling. But the leaves were very, very tender. So there was one wise owl, old wise owl. He saw that the goats are trying to eat the sapling. So he said to the goats, please don't eat the leaves right now because the plant is very, very small. It is tender. You can eat later when it grows big. So the goats went away. Then after a few days, after some period, the sapling grown into a small tree. It had some branches, it had more number of leaves. So it started growing. So what happened? After some time, the squirrels started coming onto that tree and they started making their houses on that small tree. So again, our wise old owl came there and he told to the squirrels, hey, wait, don't build your house now because the tree is very small. It will not sustain. So better you please return after some time when the tree grows. So in this way, squirrel also went back with the suggestion of wise old owl. So after some like many days passed and so tree started growing. So it became little big and it had now many branches. The leaves became strong, the roots became strong. So one day the woodcutter came there and he started to cut the wood branches of the tree. So again, wise old owl came and he said, hey, stop. Don't do that. The tree is still small. So you can please return after some time. Just give me a second. I need to get the charger. Yeah, sorry. So woodcutter also went back with the suggestion of wise old owl. And then after many days, the tree became really big. It had many, many branches. It became very wide. It had a big span. And so now everybody started coming to the tree. So the goats came, they started eating the leaves, the squirrels started making their houses, they started playing on the tree, and then woodcutters also could come. So they would cut the old branches of the tree. So in this way, the same sapling is now able to provide services to so many people or so many lives. So we can see the small sapling, it was protected, and when it became a big tree, it could do a great contribution to the society. Any lessons you learn from this particular story? Anyone would like to comment? How is it applicable to parenting?
Our child is also like a sapling. When
Yes.
they grow, they help our nation or us also.
Yes, very nice. So they are like a sapling. Anything else? Anyone wants to add? Comment? Okay. So with that particular example, we can say that parenting is about a cultivation. So as Mataji gave an example, it is like a sapling. Parenting is also like taking care of a tree. So what is a life cycle? Like we take an example of a person who is doing gardening. The gardener, he takes a small plant. There is a pot. So initially, he is very, very careful. He gives the right amount of water to that small plant. Then he also positions the plant in such a way that it gets enough amount of sunshine. So then he regularly puts manure to that particular plant, starts growing. Then he reciprocates with the different requirements of the plant as per the age. And he gives doubtedly that he protects the plant. How? By providing fencing. So in a garden, we typically see there is a plant, there are pots, there is a provision for getting the sunlight, there is a provision to add manure to the plant, then there is a proper environment, and then finally the most important is there is a fencing, otherwise somebody else can come and they can destroy the plants. So similarly, in the parenting there are 4 important things which are required for growing a child: seed, sunshine, the environment or the culture, and fencing or nurturing. So what does seed means, or the ground? Ground or seed means we provide, means you can say seed is like the child, and ground means providing the resources to the child. What are those resources we provide? We provide the food, we provide clothing, we provide education, and also we give the financial support. So these are all like physical needs of the child. So that is most important, because if there is no soil, there is no water, how the plant will grow? Similarly, if there is no food, clothing, education, how will the child grow? So these are the basic necessities of child care. Then sunshine refers to the loving relationships with the children. The next part. What does loving relationship means? Giving service to the children. If you love somebody, how do we reciprocate our love? By providing service. Like when a wife says, I love my husband, I love my parents. So how do we reciprocate? No, we give them service. Whenever there is a need, we help them, we care for them. So for children also, like we try to serve them by taking care of their needs at particular age. As per the age, we take care of their requirements. And that requires time. That is very important. We don't want to be the ATM fathers. What is ATM fathers? ATM father means he just, whenever child asks something, he takes the ATM card and he goes to the ATM machine, takes money and buy the thing for a child, and the child is happy. that is called as ATM father concept. No, that is not. This definitely it is needed whenever we want to buy something which is very important for the child, but that's not just the parenting, that giving money to the children. Parenting means giving time. Time is the most important thing in this world. So as a parents, we need to give appropriate amount of time to the children. That will help for their proper emotional and social health. Many times we think that if especially if the husband and mother, husband and wife both are working, then it is really become difficult for the child. So at least one of the parents should be full time taking care of the children, giving them time. Otherwise, we see that in this today's world there are so many distractions, and we have distractions of mass scale, right? This TV, the media, mobiles, YouTubes. So there are two types of weapons in this world. One is a weapons of mass scale destruction, and there are another type of weapons called as mass scale distractions. So today's world is more vulnerable to mass scale distractions. So what are mass scale distractions? Like what I said, just like this Facebook, YouTube, WhatsApp. And they are very easily available to our children. Like as compared to our childhood, we can see we were not having so much exposure to the TV, media, and other gadgets. We were having restricted access to them, right? We are that way very fortunate. But this generation is, for them, it is very, very easily accessible. So we have more responsibility to keep children away from these gadgets so that they can focus their energy into the right thing and they get right engagements and the right nourishments. Then third important aspect about cultivation is environment or culture. So culture, it is said that it is handed over from generation to generation. संस्कृति जो होती है वो जनरेशन से आती है. जैसे हम कहते हैं मेरे दादा दादी ऐसा करते थे, उनके दादा दादी ऐसा करते थे, तो हमारे घराने में ऐसा होता है, हमारी संस्कृति ऐसे है, हम ऐसे कपड़े पहनते हैं, हम ऐसे तरह का खाना खाते हैं, ऐसे बातें करते हैं. तो कल्चर इज बेसिकली हैंडेड ओवर फ्रॉम जनरेशन टू जनरेशन. एंड हाउ द वैल्यूज आर हैंडेड डाउन बाय ट्रेनिंग. You give your kids what you value. This is very important statement. I will repeat. You give your kids what you value. अगर हमें जिस चीज की हमें जरूरत लगती है, हमें जिस चीज का महत्व लगता है, वो चीज हम अपने बच्चों को देते हैं. अगर किसी पेरेंट्स को ऐसा लगता है टीवी देखना है में ज्यादा अच्छा है, जीबी में अच्छा समय बीत रहा है, मैं टीवी देख सकता हूँ, मूवीज देख सकते हैं हम लोग रेगुलरली, बाहर मॉल्स में जा सकते हैं, पिज्जा बर्गर खा सकते हैं, ऐसी चीज में अगर उन्हें इंटरेस्ट है, उसमें आनंद आ रहा है, और जब बच्चे देखते हैं तो उनको भी वही चीज अच्छी लगती है और उन्हें भी उससे प्रेरणा लगता है और उन्हें ऐसा लगता है कि हमने भी ऐसा करना चाहिए. तो एक बार की बात है, एक फैमिली का एग्जाम्पल है. एक पिता थे, वो बहुत दारू पीते थे. तो वो कभी घर पे आते थे दारू पीने के बाद, काम के बाद वो दारू पीने जाते थे, दारू पी के घर, तो घर में झगड़ा करते थे, मार पिटाई करते थे. तो उनके 2 बच्चे थे. तो एक बच्चा ने देखा कि मेरे पिता ऐसा करते तो मैं बड़ा होके ऐसा ही बनूंगा. तो वो भी बड़ा होने के बाद खुद वो भी दारू पीने लगा, उनके जैसा वो बर्ताव करने लगा. और दूसरा बच्चा था, तो उसने देखा कि मेरे पिता कितने गलत वर्तन करते हैं, वो किस तरह से दारू के नशे में गलत चीजें करते हैं, गलत बोलते हैं, और पूरा जो फैमिली का एटमॉस्फेयर है उसके ऊपर प्रभाव पड़ता है. तो ये सब गलत है, तो मैं एक को भी नहीं करूंगा. तो उसने उस जो उनके फादर का जो ये था, आचार था, उससे उन्होंने राइट प्रेरणा ली एंड ही लिव्ड अ नाइस लाइफ. बट अदर चाइल्ड, he completely exactly copied his father and he ruined his life. So point is that whatever we value in our life, the same thing our children will value. तो अगर भगवान के मंदिर में आते हैं, हम अगर भगवत गीता का अध्ययन करते हैं, हम अगर मेडिटेशन चैंटिंग करते हैं, तो नेचुरली हमारे बच्चे भी उसका अनुकरण करेंगे. अगर हम घर में, पेरेंट्स में, माता पिता में, उनके रिश्तेदारों में अच्छा रिलेशनशिप है, अच्छा उनमें वर्ताव है और अच्छी तरह से वो डीलिंग्स करते हैं, तो एक घर में पॉजिटिव एटमॉस्फेयर होता है और फिर बच्चों को भी एक इंस्पिरेशन मिलता है ना, तो उनमें स्ट्रॉन्ग वैल्यूज डेवलप होते हैं। अदरवाइज बच्चे इमोशनली निगेटिवली अफेक्ट हो सकते हैं घर का कल्चर देख के। तो ये एनवायरनमेंट और कल्चर बहुत ही महत्वपूर्ण है। इसके ऊपर हम आगे के सेशन में डिटेल डिस्कशन करेंगे, बट इन द इंटरेस्ट ऑफ टाइम आई विल गो अहेड। एंड द लास्ट पॉइंट इज फेंसिंग एंड नर्चरिंग, मीन्स प्रोटेक्शन एंड सिक्योरिटी। जैसे हमने गार्डन के एग्जांपल में देखा, गार्डनर कैसे उस गार्डन को प्रोटेक्ट करता है, फेंसिंग करता है, जिस कारण कोई आके उसे डिस्ट्रॉय न करे। इसलिए हमें बच्चों को भी प्रोटेक्ट करना है, उन्हें सिक्योरिटी का फीलिंग आना चाहिए। तो प्रोटेक्शन किस तरह का होता है? ये प्रोटेक्शन एक है प्रोटेक्शन फ्रॉम द बैड हैबिट्स। चिल्ड्रन शुड नॉट get access to the bad things. They should not get addicted with the bad habits. That is one part of protection. Second is they should not get exploited from anyone also, because in today's world we see there are many cases of child exploitation, child abuse. So we have to also properly take care of it. We have to do proper monitoring, where children are going, with whom they are talking, what kind of activities they are doing. Many times what happens, as children started growing, like when they become 10 year, 12 year, 13 year, parents think that now my responsibility is done, my child is able to speak, is able to do the things, but this is the time, it's very, very fragile time. So the children may get affected with some bad association and they can develop bad habits. So security means protection from the bad habits, and at the same time protection from the exploitation. And at the same time we have to give them right amount of freedom so that they become responsible in their life and they start taking important tasks by themselves, and they are not burdened with unnecessary adult worries and anxiety. If they see that the atmosphere in the house is always filled with some anxieties, some worries, so they also get burdened, they get bogged down by it. But if the atmosphere in the house is secure and safe, they get inspired, they get motivated, and so they get inspired to perform better, to do more innovative and adventurous things in their life. So they can explore new things, they can set new goals. So this fencing and nurturing includes these aspects of parenting. Okay, any questions till now? Any comments? If you have something to add here, please feel free to add based on your experience, whatever you heard before.
Prabhuji, how to make children away from this electric media like TV, mobile phones, etc. That's the biggest challenge right now. Every parent is facing, I think.
Yes, very true. I would like to mention that from last 20 years, we don't have a TV in our house, and we are really feeling happy about it. Rather, we get a lot of time to do many things. We get time to talk with each other. So first thing is actually we don't need TV. Of course, there are advantages of TV, like you get to see the news and some important happenings, but that you can get anywhere, on a website or anywhere. So first thing, as far as possible, don't have TV in the house. Second thing is now the things are going online, like they are having access to the laptops, mobiles. So definitely there is a tendency to download some games and play the games, get distracted. So it is very, very difficult to avoid. I would agree with it. So what we can do is do monitoring about their online activities also. If at all they want to see some cartoon, then we can set aside some time. In a week, I'll give you half an hour of TV time. We set some rules in our house. Yes, you want to see TV, this is your time. First you do your studies, you do your exercises, and you have your own play time. And then you have to help in the household activities. Involve children in the kitchen. That is another important task. They can develop the habit of working in the kitchen. Mother can help them, like sabji cutting or helping in some other activities. So they will develop the accountability, and also they become more responsible when they eat the food. So that way we have to engage them in some fruitful activities. So they should get less time as a free time, because free time is very dangerous. So if they get free time, they will definitely get attracted to the gadgets. And apart from that, what we do is we go for a trek, or you go for some have a picnic with the friends, and then you go for some natural trek or do some outdoor activities, which is now difficult in corona situation. But as the situation improves, as the time permits, we should plan some outdoor activities as well. Because if we give them outside exposure, they will develop the interest. Otherwise, from the childhood, if they see only TV, mobile, when they grow up, they will have the only interest and liking for those gadgets. So जितने हम लोग अच्छे उनके ऊपर संस्कार दे सकते हैं, अच्छे एंगेजमेंट दे सकते हैं, उतना हमें फायदा होगा. जैसे हमारे विद्याश्रम में जो बैचेस होते हैं, उसमें हम वीकेंड्स में बच्चों को मंदिर बुलाते हैं. तो हम उनको अलग सेवाओं में एंगेज करते हैं. कभी क्लीनिंग हो, कुछ बैकअप सेवा, थोड़ा कुछ गार्डनिंग है, या फिर टेम्पल का दर्शन लेना है, आरती में सहभाग लेना है. तो उससे क्या होता है, ये पॉजिटिव इंप्रेशंस उनके माइंड में आते हैं, तो उनको इस चीजों में इंटरेस्ट डेवलप होता है. तो हमें इसके लिए प्रॉपर प्लानिंग करना है. अपना जो फैमिली की सिचुएशन है, कितना टाइम है, परंतु वो पॉसिबल है. जितना हम उनको एंगेज कर सकेंगे पॉजिटिवली, उतना वो गैजेट से अवेयर रहेंगे. Any other question? Okay, so now it's almost 45 minutes. I will just conclude with the last important thing from our today's discussion is goal of education. So parenting is like education, right? So goal of education is not just giving knowledge to the children or giving skills, but along with the knowledge and skills, we have to give them character and values. There is a famous saying that if a wealth is lost, nothing is lost, right? We can regain the wealth. If you have a loss in share market, there is an always opportunity to invest again and get the profit again. If health is lost, something is lost, definitely. So some period one person is sick and some health conditions are there. So one has to take medicines and regain the health. And the last thing, if the character is lost, everything is lost. Character cannot be gained. In some years before, we saw there was a TV program. We heard about it. There was a TV program where cricket players were speaking with the anchor, and so they gave very, very inappropriate comments about the ladies, their attitude towards the ladies. And that person, he was a famous cricket star and a very skillful person. But when the public heard these comments, they were not at all happy with that cricket person. They hated him for those comments. So although person is so much filled with the skills and the knowledge, but if there is no character, no proper way, the same person is rejected by the society. So that was the point, that if the character is lost, everything is lost. So it is like, having a knife in the hand. Doctor is also having a knife in the hand, and a person who is doing crime is also having the knife in the hand. But the person who is doing crime, he uses it for doing something harm to others. But doctor uses that knife for performing a surgery, for curing a patient. So the knowledge and the skills, if it is not in the right hand, it can create destructions in the society. So the purpose of our parenting is not only about values and skills, but also to give them the right sets of values, and help them develop the art of mind control and sense control. And the last is most important, giving the fulfillment and the developing the art of gratitude in children. How they can be grateful to their parents, how they can be grateful to their teachers, how they can be grateful to the workers which come in the houses, community helpers. So that is something also, we need to work in today's society, that we see lacking in today's generation, the gratitude. Children should be really grateful to everything what they receive in their life from their parents or teachers or school or community. So these are some important aspects where we call parenting with a purpose. Our parenting has to have some purpose, some goal. Okay. So in our subsequent sessions, we'll discuss more about it. So I will take a pause here now. I would request one of my co-partner for Bhaktivedanta Vidyashram, Guru Chaitanya Prabhu. He is also regularly part of our Vidyashram team and father of 2 children. So we'd like to hear some wisdom from him as well. Prabhuji, you're there?
Yes, Prabhuji, am I audible?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you for this opportunity, and thank you everyone for coming together. Actually, thanks for this opportunity, Prabhu. Niti Seva Prabhu. So I would like just mention 1 or 2 points. We all know that the single most important person who has benefited, that is, who has made all of us the beneficiaries of Krishna consciousness, is His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. If not for him, all over the world, none of us would be devotees anywhere today. And he has given a very basic, fundamental program for all his followers. And that very much applies to children as well. So, we all know how the school works. Like schools, have a specific time when it starts the day, 9 a.m. for example, 9 to 9:45 they have one session, or 9:45 to 10:15 another session, 10:15 break, and then at 10:30 another session, like that. So they have various classes scheduled at various times. So we know, the importance of these timely classes for the children. Say if there is no timely classes, and if they are going to tell tomorrow it will be at 9 a.m. Day after tomorrow, if you want, you can log in at 8 a.m. If you want, you can log in at 7 a.m. When we like, we'll teach English. When we like, we'll teach geography. Or when we don't like, we don't teach maths, something like that. So if a school happens to be like that, none of us will enroll our children. So we all would like a certain discipline to be followed in our everyday lives, in the schools of our children, right? So we ask, what time does the school start? What is the weekly timetable? When does a certain class take place? When is the exams? When are you going to give the marks? When will you give the feedback? So for a school year, if you look at the school, they would plan it entirely from June to next April. They will plan the whole thing like that, because they cannot afford to be haphazard. They cannot afford to be ad hoc. They cannot afford to teach someday, not teach someday. So discipline in schools, we know, is very, very important, so that it sets the foundation for the children. Children will know what to expect. Children will know that, if I go log in today, I will have this teacher sitting there. She will be handling this class. And after the next 45 minutes, this teacher is going to ask me the homework. After that, this teacher is going to come like that. So Prabhupada very much also gave all his followers one set of discipline. So he told all his followers in all ISKCON temples around the world, 4 a.m., all my disciples should get up. 4:30, I'll have Mangalarti. 5 o'clock, you all start chanting, do 16 rounds. Same way, every small activity, like following something regularly on a particular time, day after day after day, sets the program, sets the discipline in the minds of the children. So one simple thing that I think we could follow, all of us, is at home, like if we are all able to sit for some time together, that is, parents have the children sit down, and then all of us chants for say 10 minutes every day. That will definitely have a great impact in the minds of the children. And they will know that, whether I sit or not, my father and my mother will be sitting there and they will chant. Sitting there, they will sing. Sitting there, they'll do something. Like we do not even have to invite them initially. Like if parents, if the father and mother are going to sit down and do some chanting, like children will automatically come, sit, and then they will become encouraged. And then after a week, even if we don't sit down, parents, the children will come, sit there, they'll try to do something. And I very much remember in my own, childhood days, like particularly those of us who are from South India, it's very common, even in the movies, many movies, this scene used to come. Like when they want to show early morning hours in any house, you will see that Yama Subbalakshmi's Venkateshwara Suprabhadam, it goes in the background. Like Kausalya, Supraja, Rama Purva, Sandhya Pravartate, that song, that stotram, which is used, which is sung to awaken Lord Balaji. So this is very common, very popular all over South. And that keeps on going in my house, and not only in my house, in all the, in South, it used to be a very common thing. Like in Maharashtra, we have one Aarti. Every evening they have an Aarti song that is sung. Similarly, in the South, this used to be the morning program. They just, whatever they do or not, they'll put the tape recorder of this Venkateshwar Suprabhatam, and it keeps going for 20 minutes like that. So whenever I get to hear that tape or that Venkateshwar Suprabhatam being sung today, played anywhere, it gives you the memories of what my childhood environment was, what my parents did, and that ambience, that atmosphere, it gives very pleasant memories. So the same way, if we want to, in a few years, our children will grow, say maximum 5-10 years, maybe our children will all grow up, and parents, they will be more influenced by the peer culture. They'll be more, trying to impress their friends, that their whom they move with, that will become very important for them and not the parents. So whatever we do today, like this time that we are trying to spend with our children, is extremely very important, is extremely very crucial. Like whether we like it or not, they will grow up, and they will move away from us. So this time that we build now, along with them, doing some form of daily sadhana, some chanting, sitting every day together along with them, say 10 minutes, 15 minutes max. That's all. We can't do that beyond it, every day sitting with children. So if we manage to spend the 10 or 15 minutes with the children, that will be an accomplishment. That is my humble view here. Prabhuji, is it okay if my wife can speak for 2 minutes?
Yes, Prabhu, please.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you for the opportunity. Hare Krishna. So we have been, our child is also with Vidyashram for a while now. And all the philosophy, the shlokas, all that we want to teach our children, the teachers at Vidyashram, they do it exceptionally well. It just becomes a next nature in the child to come, start telling the shlokas and things like that. So mainly when we put our children in Vidyashram, that part of knowledge giving is mostly taken care of by our teachers. So when we talk about home, there are a few things which has benefited us in our home. So I would just like to share them. That is, just a second. Oops. So one thing is, as Prabhuji also said, and our house also, Prabhuji has said that children, they are very bad at listening to elders. Whoever tells, they don't like to listen. Maybe parents, maybe teachers, but they are very good imitators. Whatever they see, they are very good at imitating. So whatever we want our children to be, first of all, it is very, very important that we become the model of that, so that our children will imitate us. And for that imitation, we don't have to tell them at all. Mostly, sometimes when we see, we think that I am doing, but my children are not interested at all. But every child has a time when the child will, it'll all imbibe in them, but it'll slowly come out at one time. But as Prabhuji was telling, what is important is our life consistently doing certain things. Secondly, whenever we have been speaking about bringing culture in family, children like to do one thing they hear and then what they like to hear, they like to do. So what we have found very useful is that when the child is involved in our devotional practice in a meaningful way, that means if we are doing Arati every day in our home, let us say. So if the child is given a job of bringing flowers every day, that is his job. And without him or her bringing the flowers, there will not be Arati at all. So it's a very meaningful service that the child has to do, and we can assist them in doing, encourage them in doing that. So whenever there is a meaningful service, the child gets very motivated and sticks to the service. And the last thing is that, which has been really very useful for us, is that there are a lot of books that we can see in our Matchless Gift also. Many devotees have written beautiful stories, Bhagavatam, other Ramayana, all those stories. So according to the age of the child, before the child goes to sleep, when father or mother, they take turns and read for the child 10 minutes. It's not the story itself. Story is very nice, that we will hear also, but the bonding of the parent and the child with a spiritual story at the end of the child's day, it makes a big impact on the child as he grows. So as we were all discussing that, how to keep the child away from gadgets and things like that, many times, we have to actually insert things rather than remove. Prabhupada said, that it's very difficult to remove things, but when they get something higher taste, like somebody is eating some small toffee and then you give them a dairy milk, you don't have to tell the child, don't eat toffee. It will automatically go to the dairy milk. So this is a few things that, that we have been practicing, and it has been helping our family, our children, with the help of Vidyashram teachers, that it has been very, very helpful. So this is a small thing that I would like to share. Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you, Guru Chaitanya Prabhuji and Mataji, for sharing us the tips how to maintain Krishna conscious atmosphere in the house. Thank you so much. Any questions for both of them? Very nice family, and they have good spiritual atmosphere always at their house. So very inspiring to see the example. So you can ask them questions if you have anything specific for them.
Thank you so
Okay.
much, Mataji, for giving such an insight of this daily routine I like for kids. Thank you so much. It's very useful for us. We'll definitely utilize it.
Thank you, Mataji.
Okay. Any other questions in general about parenting or the topics we discussed today? Okay. Fine. So we'll end our discussion on parenting here. I'll just pause the recording.